Indian Foreign Secretary meets the President, Prime Minister and leaders of Tamil political parties. Looming signs of water and electricity supply disruptions. Water tariff to be increased. Residents protest in Kotadeniyawa demanding that the use of groundwater be curtailed. Investigation reveals cause of Kalutara boat tragedy. Responsible authorities should take steps to prevent disciplinary issues that may arise due to big matches. A statement from the Maha Sangha.
අදින්ම ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙන්නට ඕන මේක ප්‍රසිද්ධියේ නීති කඩකිරීමට දෙන අවසර පත්‍රයක් වඩපත් වෙනවා.
A very good evening to you and welcome to Primetime News. I'm Sandro Ferdinando.
And I'm Jitendri Gunasena. Let's start off with a look at the local stories in detail. The rapid decline of water levels of major reservoirs may have a debilitating effect on the country's hydropower generation capacity by the end of this month.
Water levels of major reservoirs have fallen to a much lower level than in February 2016. While reservoirs were at 70% of capacity in February 2016, at present this has fallen to 32.13%.
This is happening for the fourth time since the 1990s. We are saying that this is being done deliberately. When such an energy crisis comes up, there is a group that is waiting to add high-priced diesel generators to the grid without calling for tenders. For example, if there is a funeral at home and the electricity is cut off, we would purchase a generator even if it is excessively expensive. Similarly, they are trying to show this need and build more high-priced power stations. We will spend 50 billion rupees on additional diesel power and emergency electricity supplies. 50 billion rupees was the cost to build the Katunayaka Expressway. This is massive wastage. This money could have been saved if power stations were built according to a proper plan.
Daily hydropower generation has dropped to 11% at present. Even if the water from all major reservoirs was brought together, the generation capacity would be only 404.4 gigawatts, which would be enough for about 10 days considering national demand.
Given the prevailing dry weather, it would be fair to say that a drinking water shortage or irrigation water shortage has arisen, but it should not cause an energy crisis. The Ceylon Electricity Board compiles a 20-year long-term plan, but we have not received support from the current government or the previous government to implement the proposed power stations. This energy crisis has been caused as a result of this.
This chart highlights minimum hydropower generation capacity over the past 4 years. However, 85.94% of the country's daily energy demand is met by thermal power stations. Nevertheless, the Sri Lankan consumer would be hard-pressed to recall when the Norochole coal-fired power plant functioned for a full year without breaking down.
The foundation stone was laid today for a new water project covering the Galgamuwa, Mahava and Polpitigam areas which have been affected by the spread of chronic kidney disease. Minister Rauf Hakim graced the occasion.
Fellow ministers, this purified water will be supplied to homes in the area at a cost of only 12 rupees per cubic meter or 10,000 litres. If we go to a shop to buy a litre of water, it will cost 60 rupees. It costs 48 rupees for us to provide this pipe-borne water, but we are only charging a quarter of that sum. We cannot continue in this way. This must change in some way. It has to be increased by a minute amount, but it must also be done in a way where we do not charge a cent from these Samruti beneficiaries. So we have to consider increasing water tariffs.
The 4th South Asia Region Public Procurement Conference commenced in Colombo today under the patronage of President Maithripala Sirisena.
The conference, which will be held until the 23rd of this month, is hosted by the Department of Public Finance, Ministry of Finance, Government of Sri Lanka and is co-sponsored by the World Bank, Asian Development Bank and Islamic Development Bank. The conference saw the participation of Minister of Finance Ravi Karunanayake, heads of public procurement, government officials responsible for public procurement policy making, oversight agencies and representatives from several development partners active in Sri Lanka.
We have witnessed that massive sums of public funds are wasted awarding contracts without following open, competitive, transparent and accountable selection process. Because of this outstanding, contract obligations were run into billions of rupees. Moreover, unpredictable delays, cost of overrun and poor contract management in large number of infrastructure development projects in the public sector have caused significant economic issues such as negative impact on the national budget, denying much needed services to the people, cash flow problems in the government, as well as contractors and disputes resulted in additional cost.
This government has inherited a massive public debt and unsettled contract liabilities for years coming from 2010, which run into over 100 billion rupees. We had to take action to settle those liabilities during the last 2 years, making expenditure management increasingly a difficult task. Unfavorable external economic conditions faced by the country makes public financial management even more challenging. During this challenging period, it is important for us to engage in neighboring countries in a constant dialogue in the affairs of public procurement, which is a key area in government expenditure.
Sri Lanka in recent times has taken many positive steps towards ensuring principles of good governance. Of particular relevance to this conference is the decision under the 19th Constitutional Amendment to establish the National Procurement Commission, which is one of 10 independent commissions. Transparency is a big dividend in procurement. There is no doubt that strong institutions committed to principles of integrity, efficiency, and professionalism are essential for economic growth and development.
The conference is an annual learning, knowledge and experience sharing and networking event for the heads of Public Procurement Agency Authority of the 8 South Asian countries.
The Ceylon Today newspaper reported yesterday that foreign investors have withdrawn over 100 billion rupees from the government securities market over the past 18 weeks. Economists say that this mass withdrawal of foreign investors from Sri Lankan treasury bonds and bills has caused the weakening of the rupee against the US dollar.
In its article, the Ceylon Today reports that foreign exits topped the 100 billion rupee mark in the 18 weeks ending on Wednesday the 15th of this month, after they pulled out 17,707 million rupees during the week. In the 18-week review period, foreign investments in the government securities market had dropped by a third, or 33.22%, to 211,494 million rupees, caused by a withdrawal of 105,222 million rupees in treasury bills and treasury bonds.
Well, what's happened is recently, because of what is going on globally and the US actually moving towards increasing the interest rate, you're seeing investors actually now trying to settle down on what they're holding in countries like Sri Lanka and going back to countries like the US. This decline, I think, is mainly due to global reasons rather than Sri Lanka specific. That has really impacted the currency, because with foreigners leaving and exiting, they're taking dollars out of the country. And the rupee, as a result, has actually moved since October. So it's moved from about 145, 146 to about 150. That's because of this. Whether this trend will continue remains to be seen, but clearly it has a big impact, because environment of less FDI, these things really matter.
Fernando added that while investors do consider many strategic factors, the central bank bond controversy of February 2015 had certainly not helped to maintain investor confidence.
I think it has definitely not helped. This is one factor which is obviously not working in our way, because it's a negative in that sense. So all these mixtures of reasons sort of influence their thought, and this foreign holdings reduction could be because of that.
In other local news, the visiting Indian Foreign Secretary Subramaniam Jaishankar called on President Maithripala Sirisena and other senior officials of the government today.
The visiting Indian Foreign Secretary met with leader of the opposition R. Sambandhan. During the meeting, he had also held discussions with members from the Tamil National Alliance.
It was a fruitful discussion. They are well aware of our issues. More attention was drawn towards the Constitution. They said that we need to take quick decisions pertaining to the Constitution. He will meet the President and Prime Minister today and speak on this further. He added that a long-term solution to this issue cannot be expected.
Later, the visiting Indian Foreign Secretary met with a group including Minister Mano Ganeshan, P. Digambaram and V. Radhakrishnan at the Indian High Commission in Colombo. The Indian Foreign Secretary also met with Arumugam Thondaman and Muthu Sivalingam. Jaishankar called on President Maithripala Sirisena this morning. The foreign dignitary was also due to meet with Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe this evening. Meanwhile, the New India Express reports that Jaishankar undertook this visit to keep himself abreast of the latest developments in the nation, besides keeping track of the existing Indian development projects and to explore possibilities of future engagement in the development and commercial sectors. The New Indian Express reported that one of the issues which is likely to crop up during discussion is the uncertainty which has crept into the Lanka Indian Oil Corporation's hold on the oil tanks in Trincomalee. The Indian Foreign Secretary would also discuss the prospect of getting further contracts to build rail networks in Sri Lanka. Meanwhile, according to the New India Express, there is talk on developing the Trincomalee port with an economic zone around it.
Newsfirst exposed several factors surrounding the Google Loon project in the recent past. The following is yet another expose on the company Rama, which is behind this project.
Following the Newsfirst expose that it was the company Rama that was behind the Google Loan project and that their motive was to purchase frequencies in Sri Lanka, the subject minister Harin Fernando and the CEO of the Information and Communication Technology Agency or ICTA, Mohundan Kanage, convened a media briefing. When questioned by us on the company Rama, the minister offered these responses.
Minister, has this Rama Corporation been incorporated in the country at present?
No. But what Rama is on the process of...
I have the document to say that the company is incorporated.
I see. That is. Sorry. So as I said, Samatpal Lipiti is one. I think Malaka Talvatta is one of them.
Notwithstanding the minister's remarks, a cursory glance at documents at the Registrar of Companies reveals that the Rama Corporation Private Limited was registered on the 26th of June 2015. The Memorandum of Understanding between ICTA CEO Mohundan Kanage and Google Vice President Mike Cassidy was signed on the 28th of July 2015. As such, Rama Corporation was already a registered company when the Google Loan Agreement was signed. According to the Department of the Registrar of Companies, the shareholders of Rama Corporation are P. Sivagananathan and Malaka Chaminda Bandara Thalwatta, owning one share each. The two are also listed as the directors of the company. At present, the fraud that has been committed has been exposed to the country. There are only two directors in the Rama Corporation. The International Telecommunications Regulator has not given Google permission to do this in Sri Lanka. So through a secret agreement signed between the Rama Corporation and ICTA, they have signed a Memorandum of Understanding with Google Loon, which allows them to secure ownership of frequencies. This is very clear. The deal they attempted has been exposed to the country. On whose approval and by what right can they reach an agreement like this? At the same time, who is the person that wanted to get together with the Rama Corporation? When we have a TRC in our country, why was there a need to involve another institution? When looking at the people behind this, it is extremely clear that an act of fraud, an attempt to misappropriate the resources of the country has taken place. As the Voice Against Corruption organization, we ask that the law be enforced against these persons who attempted to take over ownership of the frequencies and misappropriate national resources.
Rama Corporation, what were they trying to do? What were their plans? They were planning of coming into the spectrum. That is why we asked the government, what is the responsibility of this episode? Who is responsible and what are you all trying to do? And how did you all go into an MOU? What was the reason for you to go into an MOU? And today we have seen Mohundan not even saying a word. I think it's appropriate for Mohundan to resign, 10 days resignation immediately, and the president to take up this issue and to see who was responsible, who has gone behind, and what was the motive of this entire transaction must be investigated, and people concerned must resign immediately.
Welcome back. Appearing on the Newsline program this morning, leader of the National Unity Alliance, Azad Salih, levelled a serious allegation.
The water board has been calling for tenders, and successive bidders have bidded and they have got the tender. Cabinet has made the approval. Even after all the approvals have been got, genuinely done, tenders are not awarded.
That is because
the water board minister wants another Eastern Province Chief Minister to intervene into all those tenders and collect the commission. I am saying
is
it
it
with responsibility.
but perhaps shall we just be a little bit fair? Do you think that this minister from the Eastern Province...
Not minister, Chief Minister of the Eastern Province, Nazir Ahmed, I will mention his name.
Right. Well, you have to take responsibility.
Yeah, that's what I told you at the beginning itself. And he has said, the minister wants me to meet up with you, and this is my amount. You pay.
But these are very serious matters.
Very serious, and I'm taking up with the president also.
It's very serious that you're mentioning his name and
of course, and he is a wheeler dealer. I have been always talking to you very straight about him. I have documents to prove that the
I hope you
most filthiest petrol was born into the country by him. He is the agent.
In the aftermath of the Kaluthura boat tragedy which cost the lives of 11 people, Fisheries Minister Maha says that steps will be taken to cancel the licenses of passenger transport boats which fail to follow the guidelines outlined by the ministry. Now, police media spokesperson DIG Priyantha Jayakodi says attention has been turned towards taking action against the individuals responsible for the tragedy. Meanwhile, our correspondent says that the search and rescue operation is still ongoing.
A number of families from the Berula fisheries community set out in procession of boats today as part of the celebration of an annual feast in Berula. Newsfirst received photographs of the group before the procession began. One of the boats, which was carrying 41 passengers, turned turtle during the procession.
The boat was ready to set off when we were boarding. The children were crying and my second son told me at home that he doesn't want to go. He said, "Mother, what if the boat capsizes?" We said that it is too crowded and the 7 of us got off. Suddenly the boat set sail. People started screaming, saying that the boat may capsize. The boat turned and a few of our relations, around 4 to 5 of them, jumped off. We rescued them by using things like baskets.
Around 60 to 70 people jumped on the boat when it was preparing to set sail from the harbour. I told the Coast Guard that the load is too much and asked that people be unloaded from the boat. The guard made 25 people get off the boat and asked me whether that is enough. Since it was enough, I said it is all right. 3 people climbed onto the upper cabin, which caused an imbalance in the boat. That is how the boat turned.
Lifeguard Supervisor SSSP S.H. Chulasiri stated that the cause of the accident was the overload of passengers on the boat. At a meeting held at the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources Development, it was revealed that the boat which met in the accident yesterday was unsuitable for passenger transport, as it is a vessel which is used for fishing in deep seas. The minister said such a boat could carry only around 4 to 5 persons. It further stated that it is compulsory for passengers to be given life jackets when travelling in a passenger vessel, and that none of the passengers on board the ill-fated boat were not provided life jackets. While transporting passengers on fishing vessels should not be permitted, exceeding the passenger limit is prohibited according to the ministry guidelines. The subject minister has instructed for the fishing licence of the vessel to be cancelled. The accident which took place off the seas of Kaluthura claimed the lives of 11 persons, while 29 others were rescued and have been hospitalized. The deceased were residents of Berula and Kaluthura. The remains were handed over to the relatives today. The youngest victim who lost his life is 8-year-old Yunal Buddhika. Yunal was a resident of the Bandaravatta area in Berula.
In other local news, residents of Kotadeniyawe in Kampa staged a demonstration today, citing that they have been inconvenienced owing to the misuse of groundwater by a factory in the area. According to our correspondent, the Kurunagala-Colombo main road was blocked for almost 3 hours owing to the demonstration.
The residents staged the demonstration, citing that a soft drink manufacturing factory, which uses groundwater for its productions through 3 tube wells, has caused a water scarcity in the area.
The
protesting residents dispersed following a promise made by the police OIC of Kotadeniyawe to hold a discussion. During a tour undertaken by Newsfirst, we observed the manner in which several wells in the area have dried up.
We have never faced such a water shortage. By 3 to 4 in the evening, we have to finish up all our work and go in search of water. This school educates around 700 to 800 students. They have no water to drink. There is no water in the washrooms. Our children have to suffer because of this factory.
I too went to this school. I have never ever seen this well dry up.
We have to drink this brackish water. Another well is being dug in this 15 purchased land. We are not doing this on our own will. If we have water to drink, that is more than enough. By evening, all the children go in search of water. We are not asking that they close down the factory. All we ask is that they stop using groundwater using 3 tube wells.
Meanwhile, another group of residents from Pansilugoda, Vinuangoda staged demonstration against the attempts taken by National Water Supply and Drainage Board to set up a tube well. When Newsfirst contacted State Minister of City Planning and Water Supply Sudarshini Fernandapulle, she noted that the water shortage has arisen owing to the prevalent dry weather conditions and that all measures have been taken to rectify the prevalent issues. The service of 5 military intelligence personnel who were arrested in connection with the alleged assault on journalist Keith Noyar has been suspended.
Military spokesperson Brigadier Roshan Sinivaratna said that the service of a major, a warrant officer, 2 sergeants and a corporal have been suspended. The suspects were arrested by the Criminal Investigations Department recently and were placed in remand custody after being produced before court. Journalist Keith Noyar was attached to the Nation newspaper and was abducted and assaulted in May 2008.
The election of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, which was to be held tomorrow, has been postponed indefinitely.
The election of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka was to be held tomorrow. However, it had to be postponed because it was the Solicitor General who is acting in the capacity of the returning officer. However, now the Judges Association has decided that their executive board will not take part in the elections of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka. Based on that, the board decided not to hold the elections tomorrow. We are now in the process of deciding a date to hold the elections of the Bar Association.
The Maha Sangha says that responsible authorities should take steps to prevent disciplinary issues that may arise due to big matches. These views were expressed during a media briefing held in Colombo this morning.
We know that the main objective of a sport is to create a team which will accept both victory and defeat. But these sports which were created with such objectives have now become the reason behind the destruction of our culture and our future generations. By now, this period of time has become the time when school students are first exposed to smoking and alcohol.
This is something that has been developing over the years. When the president was a minister, he took strict actions against this. Even after he was elected as the president, he is of the stance that drugs should be eradicated. So I believe that in this matter, laws should be strictly imposed under the guidance of the president to save the future generations.
The big matches are held in Colombo and the surrounding areas. This has granted permission to engage in illegal activities in public. Big matches should be held in an ethical manner. So permission should not be granted to the old boys or those who claim themselves to be old boys to bring in alcohol. If the old boys cannot behave in an exemplary way, they should be prohibited from entering the school premises. Please let the innocent school students play the match. Every school has its own school anthem. So I request all the principals and the teachers to explain the true meaning of those anthems to the students. If they cannot act accordingly, big matches should be stopped.
In other local news, parliamentarian Namal Rajapaksa arrived at the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption this morning.
Subsequent to providing a statement to the Bribery Commission, the MP expressed his views to the media on the imprisonment of Sarath Fonseca.
Back then, no one was summoned to the commission and questioned based on political agendas, and there was no mudslinging. If an allegation was levelled against someone, legal action was taken and the necessary legal punishment was handed down. But personally, I feel it would have been better if it didn't happen. Yet, action was taken according to legal procedures. Some say he was dragged. but we did not see what happened. We could say that he was dragged if we saw it, but we didn't see it. It was a military law that was in effect, which is very different from civil law. My brother was also taken to record a statement one day and he was remanded for 45 days. It was political revenge. The government takes political revenge in several ways. I believe that it would have been better if it didn't happen to Sarath Fonseca. This is because we conducted Bodhi Pujas when he was caught in a bomb blast. My parents and I were up all night participating in the Bodhi Puja, asking for a speedy recovery for Sarath Fonseca.
News First, in dialogue with legendary cricketer Maha Sangha. Tuesday at 9:30 p.m. on TV1.
And with that, we wrap up Primetime News. For the News First team, I'm Sandra Ferdinando.
And I'm Jitendra Gunasena. Good night and take care.